gonna get sauced. I fought the troll and the troll lost. I fought the troll and the troll lost. He tried to boss me and was outbossed. I fought the troll and the troll lost. I fought the troll and the troll lost. Underneath his Freeper Bridge, hoping goats will cross. Quoting Ashcroft and Tom Ridge, I fought the troll and the troll lost. I fought the troll and the troll lost. He's even dumber than Mickey Cost. I fought the troll and the troll lost.
Hello and welcome to the TechBytes audiocast. I'm Tim from the OpenBytes blogazine, and co-host with me is Dr. Roy Shestowitz from the TechBytes website. So hello everybody, this is the fourth episode. Thanks for listening to us. Today we've got a few pieces of news which I believe Roy's going to be starting off with, and as usual I'm going to say thank you to Tom Smith for the intro music. You can find Tom Smith and all his excellent work at tomsmithonline.com. So Roy, hello there, and we'll go over to you.
Hi everyone. I didn't find so much news, not as much as you probably hoped for. One of the things that caught my eyes, though, is a current controversy. It started around yesterday when the person behind the FSFLA is basically saying that Linux is open core and refers to Linux as the kernel, not the entire system. Which is quite an interesting situation. It's probably true technically, but nobody wants to say that. And it brings in all kinds of debates now about whether you have to combine proprietary and free in order, in order to get some acceptance from the big companies that use Linux. So it's kind of a sticky issue. And then you had all these analysts and all these companies that try to monetize the entire news business around open source and the hype, and they have been trying to sell you the impression open core is the future, and now they kind of use that as a bit of ammunition. So I'm a bit concerned, and to tell you the truth, today I see still lots of discussions just about ranting about Ubuntu and their attempts to try and do it their own way. And I don't see much of a discussion about the other distributions. I wonder what you think about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I mentioned before about my opinions on Ubuntu, and obviously the fact that I sort of stand behind that distro in many cases when I install it for friends and family. Having looked at Ubuntu for the time that it's been in existence, and it's probably one of the ones that probably everybody follows, I've always been of the opinion that Canonical does make the decisions that ultimately are best for the distro itself. I don't think we can argue that Ubuntu is up there with the most popular distro. So I'm going on the side of having a little faith that the decisions it's making currently are going to be right and are going to be successful. And I hope they are successful, because certainly I think Ubuntu, if it's not the distro that people are using, it's the distro that people have got into the Linux world with and maybe used as a stepping stone to look at other options and different distributions.
Yeah, and I'm looking before me. I have a list of things I posted about 10 minutes ago as a bunch of news daily links, and one of them is about GNOME Shell 2.91.2, which is approaching the 3.0 release of the GNOME desktop. And it's interesting because now people start to ask questions though about how many people will use that, especially if Ubuntu is not going to incorporate this as part of the distribution. It kind of saddens me. I installed Fedora today. I really enjoyed Fedora so far. I didn't spend many hours with it. I just basically installed it. I went to get some coffee, and I was pretty shocked. I came back, and it was already installed, and I thought it must be wrong, because it's been, I'd say maybe 7 minutes or so past, and it's quite a powerful computer, but it installed very fast, no issues at all, and I haven't found a single kind of kink or an issue with KDE for, say, 2 hours of use so far. It's KDE 4.5 point something. And most people who use Fedora, the default distribution is using GNOME, and lots of developers work on the shell and have worked on the shell for over a year now, I think. And I'm not exactly sure if they will have the minority the minority of users, among those who use the mainline GNOME desktop, and Ubuntu will have even more users than users of GNOME. Basically, Ubuntu will kind of overtake and even override GNOME in some sense. The president, or the Peters was the I think director of GNOME Foundation or something. The role, she's just left. Basically, she went to Mozilla, and I'm not sure if it's related to the incidents recently, if it's something to do with Ubuntu. But another thing I'm seeing though is Mandriva 2010 is getting KDE 4.5.3. Which is quite nice, because people forget it even exists, basically. And one last thing I should mention is Mandriva has had this really nice announcement today about virtualization. So you kind of know the company that took over the assets of Mandriva and actually runs the company now. They're still trying to advance the distribution. That's good news.
I mean, just very briefly, I think it's been pretty common knowledge that I've never been a user or a fan of KDE. I'm certainly a GNOME user through and through, with a small flirtation with other environments with previous distros that I've used. But I just can't settle with KDE. That's my personal opinion. I'm sure we'll cover it why in future episodes. But yeah, GNOME's certainly my one of choice.
It's one of the areas we kind of tend to disagree. I thought when I view GNOME desktop, I usually think this is the type of thing which would struggle to compete in terms of eye candy, or at least its default appearance, with the Mac OS X and the Vista and Windows 7 and all these distributions that tend to have KDE. I mean, I look at all kinds of very obscure distributions I used to watch, and they used to look very amateurish. The KDE 3 kind of icon set, which default one I didn't really think was great, but now they basically inherit all the good things from KDE 4, and all of a sudden they look just as good as, in my opinion, as good as Mac OS X, which I value quite highly in terms of appearance. You have all these things like Pardus, and you have all these rescue CDs and one person projects, and they look amazing. You look at the themes and the icon sets and the flash screens and the login manager. Everything looks really polished. And that's the amazing thing to me, at least, about KDE. It also has very nice interface for a netbook now.
I mean, with me, it's probably some sort of hang-up that I have specifically with the look of KDE. But when I'm using it, I just get the feeling of plastic and cheap is how I find it. I just can't settle with it. I think maybe because I have a long history with, and this is a terrible thing to say, but I have a long history with XP, both at work and obviously previously on the desktop. And I think maybe that GNOME is more sort of XP-ish, if I dare say it, than KDE. And maybe it feels more familiar to me. But I'm certainly very happy with GNOME.
Some people say the exact opposite. Actually, it's funny you say that. Lots of people compare the launcher and everything in KDE to and the system tray, and even the terminology is very similar to what you find in XP. And they said that GNOME, with the multiple panels by default and the menus that go across the top, that this is actually kind of a more similar maybe to Mac OS X than to Windows, and that's what I've heard from people. But people tend to forget that all the operating systems tend to have roots in something else, and even if a person looks at Windows, it wasn't the first in many of the things it's doing. And Mac OS X didn't invent the different parts of the operating system. They basically kind of pick and choose all kinds of things they like, and sometimes they probably